Good morning, Representative Murphy. Welcome to our committee.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I move that the House File 1282 be held over for consideration in the Education Finance Omnibus Bill.
Very good. Proceed with your testimony.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, you know that I have a thing about libraries, and people of Minnesota join me in having a thing about libraries and the access to libraries. And we've gone to libraries since some kind of a library, lending library, since Minnesota was a territory. And the people of Minnesota are, sometimes they're passionate about their libraries, and other times they barely know where they are. But when they have a reason to go to the library for some purpose, they always find it. And there are people there, just as in the schools, that are trained to help them, whether they need a tax problem solved, a computer problem solved, or whether they just need something for a rainy day at the cabin. You just have to have some kind of ability to know that every Minnesotan can be served by the libraries. And the method that the libraries have developed across the state is to form regional libraries and partnerships with counties and cities and the state for funding of the libraries. And the state funds the regional library systems as well as the school systems libraries through the Education Department. Minnesota Department of Education is solely responsible for the basic funding formula that is complicated and beyond my ability to explain in detail, but we have a grid in your packet, and we have House research explanation of the packet. And we don't do a lot as an Education Finance Committee of maintaining library system raises. And members, it's time. We have not funded an increase to the library system since I've been on Education Finance. And this is my third term on Education Finance. And it was Margaret Kelleher was speaker the last time we funded an increase. I believe that's right. An increase to the basic formula that reaches out to all Minnesotans for their media and computer and reading needs. And so it's time, members. And this bill would fund that. Now, there are people here that are librarians. It's a Minnesota Library Day at the Capitol. And Ann Hokanson, the executive director of the Travis Dessous Library Cooperative, is here. And Liz Lynch from Lake Agassiz Regional Library Director is here. And Hung Russell on behalf of the Friends of the Hennepin County Library are here. And they're going to tell you about what a raise would mean to them or what they do with the state funding for the library system.
Very good. Ms. Hokanson, Ms. Lynch, and Mr. Russell, come on down and introduce yourself for the record and go ahead and proceed with your testimony.
My name is Ann Hokanson, and I'm the director of the Travis Dessous Library Cooperative. I'm also serving this year as the Minnesota Library Association Legislative Chair, which is a position that the association has regularly because getting adequate state funding for libraries is so difficult and so important. So we've been working at this for quite some time. I have with me here in the audience many library supporters who are here to show their support, and many of you have appointments later today with them to help explain some of our issues. I want to thank Representative Murphy for her long-standing support of libraries, and Representative Murphy, I'm sorry that it's been taken us so long, and I hope this is the magic year. So. In front of you, you do have the overview of the bill and the complicated chart there. My role today is to talk about how the regional aid affects the state and what some of the problems are and the proposed solutions. Then my colleague Liz Lynch will talk about how it directly affects Lake Agassiz Regional Library. But I would like to point out to you that many systems experience similar things. With that, I'm going to just launch into my written remarks so that I don't get too off track, because I very easily can talk about libraries 24/7. So excuse me while I read to you. My library system, Traverse des Sioux Regional Library System, is headquartered in Mankato. We serve 9 surrounding counties. Regional library systems are distributed across the state. I'm here today to testify on the behalf of everyone because regional library systems have collaborated to work together to bring forward this legislation. Minnesota's public libraries are in every county and serve all Minnesotans. Minnesotans use their libraries at high rates compared to the rest of the nation. Minnesota's libraries are powerful education engines because they collaborate and share. We are all very used to the idea that we can get a free public library card and have access to literally millions of books on any subject, even if we are using a library that would fit inside this room. Many of the libraries in my region would literally fit inside this room. That's why I'm here today. We're so used to that idea that we can forget it takes deliberate effort, designed systems, and funding to make it true. Our state's regional public library systems connect our libraries together, making it possible for Minnesota children and adults to explore ideas and learn regardless of where they live, regardless of the size of their local library. Public libraries in Minnesota are primarily funded with local dollars from city and county government. Regional Library Basic System Support, or RLBSS, the funding I am asking for you today, my phone just moved, only covers about 7% of the total cost of operating libraries. So while the total amount of money seems like just a huge amount of money to me compared to my household budget, it's just 7% of what we spend on public libraries in our state. But this state public library funding is the funding that ties all of our libraries together, because just as the name of the funding suggests, it provides the basic system support to our regional systems. The boards that govern each of the regional public library systems have all endorsed the funding levels and formula distribution included in House File 1282. The existing formula and funding levels are putting some of our regional library systems in real jeopardy and making it very difficult for all of the systems to plan and deliver services responsibly. I want you to take a look at your chart and notice that this is a description of what would happen going forward. What you don't have in front of you is the historic information, which shows the dramatic changes in funding that each of the systems have experienced over the past number of years. And Liz Lynch will talk to you more about that. The boards of each of the systems recognize that for Minnesota to achieve the goal of statewide access to quality library service, we need this bill. Liz from Lake Agassiz Regional Library System in back of me is going to tell you about her specific experience. Her system's circumstances are not unique. Many of our state systems, including the one I work for, are in similar dire straits. I want to emphasize that there is unanimous regional public library system support across the state for this bill because it is needed to stabilize funding for each system. Every library system relies in part on the others, and we are all much stronger together. Local library boards and city and county governments have also widely endorsed this funding request. In my region, 8 county boards and many cities have passed resolutions supporting the funding request and formula change. Individual library boards have done so as well. There is widespread support for this bill because it fixes a real problem that ultimately affects every public library in this state. It isn't enough to love libraries. Public libraries are one of our nation's most loved institutions, but it takes money to run them. Please support this bill.
Thank you very much. Ms. Lynch. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed.
Good morning. My name is Liz Lynch, and I am here representing Lake Agassiz Regional Library System, and I'd just like to thank you for this opportunity today. I'm the director of the Lake Agassiz Regional Library System, which is located in northwest Minnesota and headquartered out of Moorhead. Lake Agassiz Regional Library provides public library service in 22 communities in a 7-county service area. The counties that we serve include Polk, Clearwater, Norman, Mahnomen, Clay, Becker, and Wilkin counties. Regional Library Basic System Support, or RLBSS, is very important to Lake Agassiz Regional Library and other rural Minnesota library systems as well, where other non-government funding sources are scarce. RLBSS is the funding that can help our public libraries reach their full potential and make the most impact in our communities. Because of the extreme weight of equalization in the formula factors used to allocate state dollars to regional library systems, starting in 2009, Lake Agassiz Regional Library started seeing huge decreases in RLBSS funding. In the first year, 2009, we lost about $96,000, which was a significant loss for us. Unfortunately, we continued to see decreases in funding year after year. An effort to avoid deficit spending, as employees retired or left their positions, we chose not to fill them. We looked for every efficiency we could find. We asked current employees to do more with less without being able to guarantee a living wage. We eventually had to move towards eliminating personnel and reducing hours. We are now down to bare bones staffing. Having the minimum amount of staff, compounded by years of decreased funding from the state, has had a huge impact on our regional library system. We're moving right along, offering the best services we possibly can, and I do believe we are making a difference in our communities. But it almost hurts to think of how much more of an impact we could still be making on our communities and how many more people we could reach if the resources were still available to us today. Regarding our communities, poverty and transportation are 2 huge issues. We would love to dream big and experiment with new services and outreach, but with limited staff and limited resources, this is not always a reality. We would love for our employees to be more involved in statewide initiatives, but the fact is we're geographically and financially challenged. We are always seeking alternative funding options from donors or granting institutions, but when you don't have the staff to write the grants or jump through the hoops that are often required, follow-through can be close to impossible. Lake Agassiz Regional Library is primarily funded by 5 cities and 7 counties, which we refer to as our signatories. Our signatories are currently providing over 75% of our operating budget. The Laurel signatories have been very generous over the years, but they've made it very clear that they are beginning to max out. I dread the day when I go and ask for an increase for our regional library system from our signatories and they say no, because that reduction, that if they say no, we're going to see reductions in hours or even closures in communities where library services are their only source of information, entertainment, access to computers and the internet, and their only free place in town where they can feel that real sense of community. For Lake Agassiz Regional Library and library systems across the state, an increase in RLBSS funding and a formula change would mean funding stability from one year to the next, more library books and materials to fill community demand, more employee hours to offer one-on-one assistance to library patrons and to help those who need it most, innovative services and delivery methods for better meeting the needs of our communities, and more opportunities for collaboration and partnership so we can reach our full potential and help our community members reach their full potential as well. Our current formula does not serve Minnesotans well. Without a formula change and an increase in funding, we are simply kicking the can down the road. A $4 million increase along with a formula change would mean stability for public libraries and improved services across the state for all Minnesotans for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lynch. Mr. Russell, welcome to the committee. Please state your name and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning. My name is Hung Russell, and I'm a resident in the Marcy Homes neighborhood in Minneapolis. Thank you, Representative Murphy, for introducing this bill. I wish to thank the committee for this opportunity to speak as a patron of the Hennepin County Library. I currently serve as co-president of the Friends of the Southeast Library and co-president of the President's Council of the Friends of the Hennepin County Library. The Friends of the Hennepin County Library fundraises, creates awareness, and supports programming and the material collections at the 41 branches of the Hennepin County Library system. This umbrella organization is comprised of 38 currently active local friends groups, volunteers who meet and work to support their respective libraries. Libraries have been an integral part of my life, offering me a window into a larger world of imagination and knowledge. As a result, I became the first member of my family to graduate from college, the first to obtain a master's degree, and the first to become a licensed architect. Several years ago, when I became semi-retired, I felt a need to engage in volunteer work and give back to the community. Our local Southeast Library Friends group was being formed at that time, and through my association with the group, I came to have a deeper appreciation of the role of our libraries. Local libraries are a nexus of community involvement and interaction. While we have discussions today about the relevancy of a physical library in this digital age, I contend that libraries, more than ever, have an important role to play. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to participate on an advisory committee to envision a future Southeast Library. This vision would guide the programming for a planned renovation project for the library, which is currently underway. One of the key takeaways that came up in our discussions was the nearly universal desire for communal elements, meeting spaces, mentoring spaces, maker spaces. People wanted places that allow them to share their knowledge and cultural experiences. And that theme is reflected in part by the current emphasis of the Friends of the Hennepin County Library, that the Friends groups be ambassadors to the communities and help identify programming by which their local library can best serve them. In summation, local libraries are no longer static repositories of books, but are required to be ever evolving and adapting to meet the needs of their communities. And there is a yearning for places and resources that allow people to participate in the learning process as a community. It has always been my belief that libraries are the final bastions of an unfettered democracy, welcome to all and providing free access to information. As we invest in our libraries, we invest in their capacity to nurture the souls of our communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Any questions from members? Representative Jurgens.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Representative Murphy, taking aside the $4 million increase, just looking at the changes in the calculations, which is taking the base aid distribution from 5% to 15%, so increasing that by 10, and then reducing the adjusted net capacity per capita distribution from 25 to 15. What were you trying to accomplish with this shift?
Representative Murphy.
The changing demographics of the various areas and the kinds of services that the regional library system is trying to deliver.
Follow up? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think it's not easy to make any change at all in the formula of the regional library systems. And they have come to an agreement that this formula would serve the most people in the best way in Minnesota. And the big system, the little systems are all working together and support this change.
Follow up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Representative Murphy, prior to coming to the legislature, I was on the Washington County Library Board, so this is something that I do see the value in it. And I was going through the numbers trying to see if there are winners and losers, and it's pretty spread out. I mean, there aren't any big significant changes, and with the $4 million increase, everybody sees an increase to some extent. The percentages seem to be relatively minor, with MELSA taking the biggest decrease percentage-wise. So I just wanted some clarification on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for pointing that out.
Any other member questions? Representative Erickson.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I don't really have a question, but during the Palenti administration, when Alice Seegren was commissioner, she and I toyed with the idea of moving libraries into a small agency concept. And we worked at that, didn't accomplish it because we both agreed that having it in the K-12 funding was always an issue. And Representative Murphy knows about, how this always happens to libraries, that they're the last, one of the last on the spreadsheet. But maybe we need to think in the future if we would expand the importance of a library, how we move it out of K-12 and into a small agency. After all, we fund Perpich as a small agency to the tune of $8 million, and we're only serving a little over 100 students. Here, we're serving thousands of residents. So, something to ponder.
Millions.
Representative Murphy.
I totally agree, but before what Representative Erickson was talking about, I had the idea that we needed a legislative audit report, and we got that. And I thought that on the same length, that might tell us to do something differently. But these regional library systems are strong, and the people in them are true believers. And they don't want the legislature messing around with the structure that reaches all of Minnesotans. And so we don't go very far very quickly. But one of the responsibilities we as a legislature has is doing funding that will stabilize and continue the services that they provide with their mighty strength and power that they have in their local areas. And the regional library system, I believe that it is here, and we have to fund it, and we can keep taking these little steps or thinking of how else it works. But you know what? The regional library boards, they always come to a solution to a problem. And this is it for the next few years, if we fund it. And we should be funding it, at least with this strength, if not more.
Thank you, Representative Murphy. Are there any members from the audience or from the public that would like to testify? Mr. Heller, you may come down and testify, but we are bumping up against the time limit, so please keep your comments or your questions to a minute.
Make it a comment.
Keller, unofficial representative, twice exceptional and print disabled, testifying education finance on the 26th of February. I never knew the legislature actually specifically funded libraries. I just found that out. You micromanage them just like you do the two academies, the blind and deaf. I support a raise, obviously. I don't know if this is considered cost of living, but unless you actually put that in the bill, I think that would be relevant, what the teachers get when you do that too. So thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Heller. And with that, any closing remarks, Representative Murphy?
I renew my motion.
With that, Representative Murphy renews her motion to lay House File 1282 over for possible inclusion in a future omnibus bill.